Have you ever thought of reasons why we went on a ridiculous, change of the national anthem? Bola Ahmed Tinubu was trying to test the intelligence of Nigerians, and if they will accept, no matter how ridiculous or stupid, any idea will be able to accept it. That's why I say, okay, let's change the national anthem. I just brought it in for you to know that this guy, not only is he here to obliterate, what is called, democratic governance, but to also make you look stupid as Nigerians. And he believes that we are stupid, that anything that he brings out, people will take it. And that's what has been happening. So where are the Yoruba elders? Where are they today? Where are they keeping quiet? Nigeria will not end, though, let me tell you. Anybody telling you all these things that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing, believe you me, just a flash.
Never mind that people are saying he may even he will elongate himself in power. You don't see that happening.
He will elongate himself in, what do you call that place? In Bodilon, yes. But not in the villa.
Are you serious?
He knows it himself now.
Okay, let me ask
He knows it himself, because why do I say so? Let him tell us one person who has succeeded. From Gawan to today, who has succeeded?
IBB did not succeed.
Obasanjo did not succeed. So is it him that will come? How is it going to succeed?
Jagaban?
Bodilon now, Jagaban. Believe you me, if you investigate, most of the candidates you mentioned that are in other parties, they are all working for Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Really?
I'm just telling you.
Wow.
I'm in the game, so I'm telling you.
Somebody sat here and said the same thing.
No, I said I'm a national chairman.
That they have, apart from APC yes. has other franchises.
Definitely, he has.
Wow.
Most of them. I can't say all of them.
This is Naija Unfiltered on SYMFONI TV. My name is Olawale Oluwade, and my guest today is former chairman of Inter-Party Advisory Council, an engineer in the oil and gas services, and currently the chairman of the Action Democratic Party, Engineer Yabagi Sani. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Nice to have you once again. I love you.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure having you.
Yes.
Always a pleasure. Yeah. Let's get on with our conversation, sir. There is a lot to cover in a very short time that we have. Okay, INEC has published the list of presidential candidates, their vice, and then especially their details, their qualifications, their previous places of employment, and all of those. Now, looking at this reality, especially a situation where the incumbent president has omitted his primary, secondary school that he attended. We only have a university degree on INEC's portal. In fact, some places where he had claimed he worked before, they are already removed, like Deloitte, the global accounting is no longer there. What does this say about the state of our democracy, and what's your response to this?
It's not good for a country like Nigeria, because Nigeria, like we all know, is a promise of greatness. What is lacking is accountability, transparency, and the seriousness that is required in terms of governance, in terms of the personality, because the position of the president of the country, unlike when he was coming to contest, at the time he was coming to contest, everything can be taken for granted that, okay, this is the... But if you are a president, that is completely different from any other individual. So which means whatever you say or do must reflect the kind of expectation of a very high standard of, moral standing. You become the standard by which the country is really measured in terms of credibility and trust that people should have in the country. So you see, they may look at it as a way of perhaps circumventing, the normal scrutiny that greets such personalities, and especially when you are offering yourself, for renewal of your term, your tenure rather. It's and then maybe because a lot has been said in the past about his records as far as education is concerned, where he went to school and who he went to school with, which were very difficult to come by in terms of providing answers to people. So now they are thinking that it's a way of, shutting up those people who may want to question his credentials. But that has been wise by half, because the records are there, and who even says that you must have this university, degree before you become the president of this country? That's not in the Constitution. What is the Constitution? Perhaps if you could even provide something that is equivalent to the school cert, that is the first school living certificate, it's enough. In fact, in some cases, you don't even have to first school living certificate. If you can have something that is equivalent to that, maybe trade certificates or something like that, you can prove that this is equivalent to first. It's enough. You don't have to go to Chicago or wherever and say that you obtained a certificate that is, questionable. So I don't know who advises the presidency or the president himself, as to how he should relate with Nigerians and the outside world, because you should understand that he's no longer Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He is now the president of Nigeria, and what he says, whatever he does, reflects what people will see about Nigeria, how they look at us, So, and I think the handlers should be more fair to him by ensuring that some of these things do not even come into public domain to be debated. This debate should have taken place, within the presidency, and the logical conclusion should have been that let's be very frank about what we are telling Nigerians, so that nobody. That's why I say it's a kind of deficit, in the credibility and the stature that is, of a president of a country, what you expect, So it's to me, I don't know what they aim to achieve, but whatever it is, I think they have failed and failed woefully.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Alhaji, you said something that is very important. You said you would have expected the president's inner circle, his key advisors,
Exactly.
to have debated among themselves and come to a conclusion on how to present all of this time around.
Exactly.
To avoid the situation that we have now, that people are already raising dust, questioning this. In fact, some are already threatening to go to court again.
Yes.
Okay, so let's play scenario, Alhaji. Assuming you were the president, what should they have done in this current situation? Knowing everything that you know, what would they have advised, assuming you even have his ears, what should they have done before arriving at this?
I'll tell the truth. I'll bring it out as it is, that this is what it is. Because like I said, the first school living certificate specified by the Constitution, I think it says equivalent or the equivalent.
You don't even have to have gone to any school.
That's what I'm saying.
If INEC chair or any of the officer can say, I vouch for you, that you can read, you can write, you are.
So that's what I'm saying, that this is the kind of conversation that should have taken place and reached a conclusion.
So you actually think they should have left that place blank? They should have left it blank without that Chicago State.
Why do you even have to put it there? You don't have to. If you want to remain within the purview of the Constitution, what the Constitution says, then provide something that is the minimum requirement. So I think like I said, I don't know who is advising the presidency or the president himself, but on this score, I think they didn't, they were not fair to him. They are not fair to him at all. It has not solved whatever problems they were trying to solve. And it's in fact further exposes Nigeria to ridicule.
Sir, with particular reference to public officials in this fourth republic, not less than 3 or 4 of them have either been forced out of office, forced to resign from their positions, or stopped from taking office because of perjury or forgery regarding educational qualifications. Bayelsa says, in Bayelsa, 2019 or so, if I'm not mistaken, a certain David Lyon and his deputy, they won the Bayelsa governorship election just a day before they were to be inaugurated.
Yes.
In fact, David Lyon, the governor-elect, was rehearsing.
Exactly.
On the parade ground.
Exactly.
He was rehearsing.
Yeah.
When the Supreme Court said, no, because your deputy is found truly to have forged certificates, that ticket, they say, is a joint ticket.
Yes.
That's how David Lyon stopped to become governor.
Exactly.
Kemi Adeosun, former Minister for Finance,
Yes.
was made to resign because of forgery of
NYC
certificates.
Exactly.
Salisu Buhari, speaker, the first speaker actually in this fourth republic, was made to leave office.
Exactly.
Because
of the forged.
he produced a fake University of Toronto or something like that.
Exactly.
I could go on and on, sir.
Yes.
Sir, why would the National Assembly, when they were amending this Electoral Act 2026, now said in Section 138, subsection 1 and 2, say forgery is no longer a grounds for disqualification of a candidate or someone who has... What happens, sir?
Well, your guess is as good as mine. What happens is that when you have a group of people, that are of the same flock, then, of course, you will not be surprised. What it means is that they condone forgery, and meaning that integrity is not anything that they feel is something to espouse, in the public service. But again, that is the beginning of the end of care is not taken of the country.
Wow. Really, sir?
It is, because if you have a country that is run by crooks, forgers, people that have no integrity, then how do you uphold, those tenets of democracy itself? How do you now unite the country? How do you ensure that you have transparency, accountability in the governance? How do you ensure that democracy is able to deliver, for the betterment of the citizens? Because people you have are of questionable characters. So, and then there's no way, the country can progress, because people that will assume leadership through that system will be crooks. Because the law has said that no, we don't really care how you come to be whoever you are. In fact, if you lie, you can be an armed robber. You can be anything. Just make sure that you win or you get to the seat. You will be there. So that's what that is the tragedy of where we find ourselves. You make a nonsense of the system itself.
Wow.
In fact, literally demolish the structure itself, such that you don't have separation of powers anymore, which is one of the pillars of any democracy, So, and then Bola Ahmed Tinubu came and demolished that separation of powers. The National Assembly is in his pocket. The judiciary is in his pocket. Executive, of course, he hates that. So government has lost its meaning and the essence and the constitutional, the intended constitutional effect of running a democratic government is no longer there. Okay, and we all know absolute power corrupts absolutely. So, and the essence of what Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done is to have absolute power, so that he can now be, and like the saying goes, if you want to break the law, seize power first. So that's what he did. So he seized all the powers that are there. And now he breaks the law at will, the way he likes. Worse than even an emperor or something like that. So this is what Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing to Nigeria democracy. And I always wonder what kind of legacy, he thinks he's going to leave behind, after he has gone, because he will go in any case.
You know President Bola Tinubu before he became president, didn't you? You know him?
No, not closely, but of course we have come in contact with him when we were there.
But was there any scenario where you envisaged that Nigeria will get to this point where we are now under President Tinubu? Did you ever conceive that we would ever arrive at this point that you described?
Now? No. I began to think this way, that care is not taken, we will inadvertently, find Nigeria in this kind of a very precarious situation where Nigeria will become like an accident waiting to happen. Why did I say so? You see, at the tail end of Buhari's administration, it appeared to me that the government was in total disarray. They lost focus, not only in terms of governance, but also in terms of continuity.
Exactly.
So, and any government that does not have succession, plan on who succeeds me and how do we go forward, what do you find? It's where we are today. Because we're in a kind of a roller coaster at that time. Where you land was anyone's guess, And that's where we land today, Anybody can guess that, okay, we can be here or there and what have you. So that's what happened. That's why some of us are not surprised that Nigeria is in this kind of total mess, that no checks and balances, the governance itself does not respect what you call the rule of law, the tenets of democracy, which says that everybody should be treated equally, is no longer there. If you look at the distribution of the offices, you will find that what Bola Ahmed Tinubu is operating is completely, an alien to democracy. It's just that Bola Ahmed Tinubu's system of, taking everything and not give a damn to whatever consequences are going to be, because he believes that this is a government of no consequence, as far as he's concerned. There's no consequence, for any action that he took. I ask you a question. Have you ever thought of reasons why we went on a ridiculous, change of the national anthem that we used to sing? I mean, you have something that is homegrown, so to speak, that you should be proud of, and you say that, no, we should go back to the colonial days, the mentality, the slavery mentality, we should go back to that one, those who gave us this one. So, I think what he was trying to do, Bola Ahmed Tinubu was trying to test the intelligence of Nigerians. And if they will accept, no matter how ridiculous or stupid, any idea will be able to accept it. That's why I say, okay, let's change the national anthem. For what reason? Nations are changing even the name given to them by colonial masters. Look at Burkina Faso, look at other countries like that. But we are going back to the colonial days. I just brought it in for you to know that this guy, not only is he here to obliterate, what is called, democratic governance, but to also make you look stupid as Nigerians. And he believes that we are stupid, that anything that he brings out, people will take it. And that's what has been happening. Look at the structure of the government itself, the way it is. The most important sector of the economy that would have brought people together as a united people in Nigeria is the financial sector. Because who affected by the financial sector of the economy? Everybody's affected, isn't it? So now, you put that in just one ethnic group control. From the Minister of Finance to Central Bank to NIRS, they call it, to customs, to anything that is productive, that will bring money, is headed by a Yoruba man, and you are Yoruba yourself. So, I mean, it doesn't make sense that you corner the country, the resources of the country, and even the thinking, everything about Nigeria, you cornered it, and when tomorrow comes, what are you going to do? Tomorrow will come. You do all these things. So when tomorrow comes, what do you do? Because when tomorrow comes means that when the power now moves from where it is now to another place, our only prayer is that you have a government like ADP government, because our government believes in one Nigeria. We believe everybody should be given equal opportunity. It should be based on merit, not necessarily on ethnicity or something like that, because that cannot get us anywhere. It creates enmity, suspicion, hatred. Because when what belongs to me, you have taken it to give to yourself and only your own, people, what are you doing to me? I'll begin to now feel, unease that why am I not considered as, qualified to occupy this position? And I'm a Nigerian. I say, oh, okay, because I'm not a Yoruba man, that's why they won't give it to me. That is bad for us, And we had expected that a person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as far as democratic, qualifications is concerned, who has grown through the mills, like you can say, rose through the mills, as far as democracy is concerned, will not tolerate this kind of thing for future, because he knows that the growth of democracy depends on how people feel about that system. And how people feel about the system is how they are treated. You are treated equally, there will be what we call national unity. But the fastest way to destroy national unity is what Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing, so that Nigeria will not be united, after he is gone. But he will fail. Another government will come and will actually allow Nigerians to enjoy democracy. That you don't have to be a Yoruba man or a Hausa man or Igbo man or whatever man before you get access to governance and be able to enjoy, what democracy says. Those deliverables that we talk about democracy, you enjoy it regardless of your ethnicity, origin, or something like that. That's what we are going to bring to Nigeria, and that's what should be.
Alhaji, why I'm smiling? Because you're accusing me. I'm a Yoruba man.
No.
You're accusing me on behalf. No, hold on, Alhaji. You're accusing me on behalf of all Yoruba people. I'm a Yoruba man, and I am not guilty. Yoruba people are not guilty, because to be fair, Alhaji, I know a lot of us Yoruba people who know that this is not a Yoruba government. I hope you agree that this is not a Yoruba government.
Yes, let me.
Are you being fair to Yorubas generally?
Yes.
By saying that he's a Yoruba,
yes, I'll tell you why.
They have Yoruba names.
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
In this country, the most organized people, achievement concerned people, aggressive people, in this country today, Nigeria, are the Yoruba people. Their cultural organizations are very strong. They listen to each other, and then this in Yoruba, the elders, is religiously, respected. So where are the Yoruba elders? Where are they today? Where are they keeping quiet? The unfortunate thing is that he has given a lie to what Yoruba people represent. As strongly united people, which I envy, because it's responsible for the kind of progress you find in the Yoruba lands and the Yoruba person. They are not laybacks, I'm telling you. So it cannot be. There must be a way by which the Yorubas can call, Bola Ahmed Tinubu to order that Yoruba did not start and is not going to stop with you. Tomorrow will come. How do you want us to fare in this country, Nigeria? Or you want to divide Nigeria? Maybe after your administration, we'll go on our way. We'll have our own country, and then say bye-bye to Nigeria. And that will not be fair.
These are serious stuff you're saying, Alaji. These are very serious and very sobering for me as a part of that nationality. These are very serious. It worries most of us, actually. Some of us were really worried.
You remember people like Chief Awolowo, the kind of thing that the man did, how he brought people from various parts of the country together, in order to have a united, Nigeria. He believed very strongly in one Nigeria, But he also believed that the Yoruba people should also be equipped adequately with what they require, Which, okay, that's fine. But he did that when you had the regions, isn't it? Every region was to cater for itself, and he chose the path that will strengthen what is called Yoruba, for generations yet unborn, which is okay. So you come as a leader, unfortunately or fortunately, you are now a leader of the nation called Nigeria, So you should emulate somebody like Awolowo and give Nigerians, the kind of equipment in terms of education, in terms of opportunities to wealth.
That will gave the Yorubas.
Because at that point, Chief Awolowo was leading the Yorubas. And I can assure you, if Chief Awolowo obliterated was given opportunity to run this country, he will do exactly what he did for the Yorubas for every Nigerian. Because that is his orientation, that's his mentality.
That was why the late Nkemba Ojukwu said the best president
Nigeria never had. Yes. So, but you came, and that's why I say it's giving a lie to what everybody believes about a Yoruba person. That he can be controlled.
This is sobering, sir. What you're saying is very sobering. It's very, very sobering.
No, but it's the truth.
It's very sobering. I can't argue with you. It's very sobering because the fact speaks for itself.
Yeah. We condemn Buhari to an extent.
Exactly.
But you can forgive Buhari. You know why? Buhari came from a background that is mechanistic. That is a military background. He has to probably reinvent himself to now understand democracy and then be a Democrat and things like that. So those things, you probably can say, okay, these people, they don't know anything. It's like, the military, they are within their cycle. In fact, they are more united than us, we civilians. So maybe he came with that kind of mentality and did not try to venture, beyond that cycle that he's used to or something like that. But you, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you've traveled wide, Your
cosmopolitan,
street smart,
and
exactly. So this is why some of us are surprised that why what happened, and you can go on and on like that.
Yes. I don't know how many people that will agree with you, because the Buhari government you referenced, because for me, President Buhari would have been better off as a cleric. As a Muslim cleric. That was how clean the man was. He had his failings as a human being, but he cut the figure of a cleric, a Muslim cleric, for me.
Yeah.
And so he failed in governance. But the biggest failure for me, I would have winked over every other failure if he got that one right. You referenced it, succession. And that is what being educated teaches you, that, success without a successor is failure.
Yeah.
A leader, even after you've failed, one thing you must always put your eye on is that who is going to succeed me? Either carry on my legacy, or do the things I did not do. So, sir, let me ask you, the presidential, INEC has released the list of 16 presidential candidates, but as it is, only 3 or so presidential candidates are being constantly discussed every day. Atiku, Peter Obi, and maybe Adebayo or Showore, or to some extent Donald Duke, because he's not been around. Maybe now that he's back. Why is the exclusion of all the other candidates, even like your candidate? I didn't even know that you are not running.
Well, I tell you, and of course you agree with me. I have said before that Bola Ahmed Tinubu came and obliterate everything that democracy represents, in terms of ability to have a multi-party system, which is what defines democracy, because that's what presents choice,
Exactly.
before the people. Build up to this, what antics, the things that happen to most political parties, how government infiltrated them, and then try to throw them off balance, not to be able to really identify and have a credible candidate that can represent the opposition. So, and they are still at it, as we speak. So the point is that this is not a normal democracy we are having. And believe you me, if you dig very deep into some of the candidates that you mentioned today, you should ask yourself, what happened? Why was ADC, why did they split?
Exactly.
That was supposed to be the most formidable, opposition that you can ever dream of. So why did they split? It's not on their own. Somebody somehow, was behind it, so as to fracture or neutralize a strong opposition, going into 2027 elections. So all these things you are talking about, believe you me, if you investigate, most of the candidates you mentioned that are in other parties, they are all working for Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Really?
I'm just telling you.
Wow.
I'm in the game, so I'm telling you.
Somebody sat here and said the same thing.
No, I said I'm a national chairman
That
of
they
the
have,
party.
apart from APC
Yes.
has other franchises.
Definitely, he has.
Wow.
They have.
Really, sir?
They have.
Wow.
They have.
This is
That's
shocking.
why I say this is a different kind of democracy.
Wow.
We're having.
Wow.
And that Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because
It's a new terrain for all of us.
yeah, it's something that I know is just for this time. You can't take this one into the future.
Wow.
This one has no future. It has its own lifetime, and that's Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Once he finishes his tenure, this kind of democracy will end.
Wow.
Because the Nigerians will have seen through why it happened.
And sir, there will be no consequence for this. All this that we're saying, there will be no consequence, no sanctions. Because my worry, sir, why I want to disagree with you on the last bit that
Yes.
this is peculiar to Bola Tinubu, is his own brand of democracy, and then after him, it will end. I beg to differ with you.
Go ahead.
There are disciples of the president now,
Yes.
arch-disciples, very,
Yes.
very strong students of the Tinubu
Yes.
democracy that we're practicing now in this brand. Are you
Yes.
are you not worried?
No, I'm not worried.
Okay.
At all, I'm not worried.
Really?
Yeah, because I can see the futility of everything they are doing as far as democracy is concerned. Democracy, that's why I said, if you want to break the law, take power. Yes, once you seize the power, then you can. But you see, I can see the end of all these things that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing. Yes, it will come to a dead end.
Wow.
Where nobody would like to practice this kind of thing again, because it will not pay. End of the day, it won't.
Okay, I want to hope and pray that you're right. I want us to make progress. We have about just 15, 20 minutes, so let's make it. The former SGF, Secretary to the Government of the Federation of Bachelor, was here. He sat where you sat. And we had a very interesting 2-hour conversation. And that video has gone everywhere. He said quite a lot, but just 2-3 points he raised I want you to respond to. Number one, he said President Tinubu has morphed from a Democrat to a dictator.
No, but I've said it already too. I said exactly the same thing.
Exactly.
By making sure that all the institutions that defines
Yes.
democracy have been collapsed into one. And it's not for anything, it's because absolute power corrupts absolutely. He has come for absolute corruption. So then he doesn't want to be checked by any law at all.
Second thing he said is that the president is not healthy, physically healthy. That if the president said his own lifelong ambition was to be president. Now you have been president. You'll do 4 years by 2027. Go, just leave the office and go and face your health. Do you agree?
No, I don't agree.
That means you still want president to continue with this?
No, he will want to continue. There's nothing you can do about that. He's advising him.
Yes.
No, he won't take that advice. No, he will not. No, I mean, no, leader, of course, of the type of Bola Ahmed Tinubu will listen to that kind of advice.
Only leaders in Africa, not
Not only
leaders on that part of the world, they take advice like that. Do you know how many British prime ministers in the last few years have left office?
No. It's a different system you have there.
Exactly.
It's a different system you have in.
It's democracy. It's not democracy.
That is a kind of organized, and then it's an organized, structured democracy, because Britain, I mean, the British people do not elect their prime minister. It is in the House.
Members of Parliament.
Yes, that's right. So it's not up to the generality of the British people to elect who becomes the prime minister. So it's about it's like, for instance, I don't know what system to use, like the military government, the military, what they do, because it's a very small cycle of people that decide. So who they want, if they say, well, you have to go. If you don't go, they kill you. So, or they don't even tell you have to go. They just come with guns. And then you have to leave.
Okay, for the sake of time, sir. But another thing that Abachalawa said was that you are from the north.
Yes.
Kogi State.
No, Niger State.
Niger State. Oh,
Bida.
I don't know why I keep thinking you're from Kogi State.
No, I'm from Bida.
Exactly. I mean, thanks for reminding me. He says...
and I'm a Nupe man, so
exactly.
I have a lot of Nupes in Kogi.
Exactly.
So
he says you northern governors are failed northerners. Yeah, northern governors are failed northerners. And he shared his own life story, how he got scholarship, not knowing anybody, born dead poor, went to school on northern scholarship, didn't know anybody, came out with the first class electrical engineering and all of those from ABU. But where are the northern leaders today providing out-of-school children is in the north, the bulk of it. Maternal infant mortality, the highest is in the north. Poverty, extreme poverty, the bulk of it in the north. I could go on and on. Do you agree with him, sir?
Yes, I do. Because you see, he's saying from that point of view, but I have an experience with the governors, the northern governors. There was a time I was heading this effort to develop the petroleum inland basins in the north. Especially, particularly the one in Niger State, which is called Bida Basin. In this country we have about 8 petroleum inland basins, not river basins. Okay. Petroleum, where you have deposit of hydrocarbon, gas and petroleum in this country. 5 of them are in the north. Only 3 are prolific, which are in the south. So the question you ask yourself is that where you have 5 petroleum inland basins, and none of them is producing, and you have 3 only here, and all the 3 are producing, then you ask a question. So when I was made the head of the airport in Niger State, I was secretary to the to that committee, because I went to Babangida Aliyu at that time.
Yes.
And I told him, Governor, I said there's a need for us to take advantage of this petroleum deposit that we have in the state. And he agreed with me. So he said, okay, he set up a committee, and he said, how will I serve? I said, yes, I will serve. So you know what I did? And I said, okay, let us now get the other governors together, so that not only the one Bida Basin, but the Lake Chad, the Benue Trough, the whatever you have, all this one, and the more that we should come together, and then develop these God-given resources.
Yes, resources.
Different endowment. What did I say? What do we suggest? I said, let them set aside at least 1% or 2% of their budget every year for development of this hydrocarbon, so that international community would take us serious. Because if we say now, as a body, you have 2% of the governors that of the budget of the northern governors, 2% set aside, say for 1 year, even 1 year. By the time you put the money down, you can get a serious investor that will come to start with
counterpart funding,
because they know you are serious, that you have this huge sum of money.
Exactly.
And then we met only once, for as the inland basins develop. I call it APIBON, that's Association of the Petroleum Inland Basins of the North. The next time, I was the one paying the bills. These governors, they wouldn't even want to listen. So
something that could give them money,
certainly,
huge money,
to address the issues of school, out of school children.
Primary healthcare center.
These insecurity we are talking about today, perhaps would have
never arisen in the first place.
Because God has given us
resources. Under Ali Babangida, I can't remember insecurity in Nigeria like this. Under when Ali Babangida was the governor of Nigeria.
No. So the issue is that, you see, that's why I agree with Wachiri that the bane of development of the North is the governors. And why? Because they are taking advantage of the kind of ultra-conservative nature of an average Northerner, that believes that, it's God, so don't God gives power, so don't touch him, don't even talk bad about somebody who is a leader, So, but that is going away now. So that's why I'm saying that I agree with him in total, that our problem in the North is the governors, because they are not held accountable. If they are held to account, I am sure, like that program, I said, all we need to do is to now challenge the federal government, to now come, and then you have international communities that will come. All these oil companies, if they know that you have such money and they're looking for it. So that is
the final point. I mean, there are so many things, but just the last one I want us to talk about. He said the biggest threat now, not only to democracy in Nigeria, but even to survival of the country itself, is the judiciary. What do you think, sir?
Yeah, because that is the passion, or what they call it, the last
hope.
Yes, hope of
everybody.
Everybody in this country. So where rule of law cannot, take effect, anything goes, isn't it? And then, especially under democracy, the hope of democracy, or the hinge, on which democracy is anchored or is hung, is judiciary. So we have what you can call an unhinged democracy that is swinging anywhere, anyway, because the hinge is not there anymore, which is democracy.
That if the executive and legislature fail, at least the judiciary will anchor
exactly.
The two
of course,
and say no, this is wrong.
That's why they're hanging now. They can't, it's like you having a door. If you don't have those hinges, how can that door, So you can't close the door. It's just swinging anywhere. That's why our democracy. That's as bad as it is.
Sir, this is quite this is quite scary, sir.
No, but it's the truth.
No, I can't fault what you're saying. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, sir. Let's make progress because of time. The president met with Catholic bishops last week, sir, and he made 2 or 3 statements that are really very worrying and troubling. Number one, he said, hunger has been with us before he was born. And so nobody should ask him to solve the problem of hunger. That, in fact, the Catholic, the priest, that's why they have parishioners. They should take care of they should feed them because they are priests. And then he says, in politics, all is fair in politics. And like I've said to a couple of people, that has left anybody to interpret that statement to mean anything. Anybody taking signaling from the president will mean, okay, I can do anything and get away with it because all is fair in politics. And the president goes on to say, the bishop said, okay, please, let there be a level playing ground for politicians, for opposition candidates. Let INEC be neutral. The president rose stoutly, defending INEC, that no, INEC is neutral. In fact, INEC has never, he's stressing never ever intimidated anybody. I mean, I could go on and on, sir. In maybe 2 minutes, how do you respond to this?
No, but are you surprised? You can't be surprised now. You just told me now, we discussed here, that forgery, all sort of things that, in other places will be enough reason for you to be disqualified, not to come near power. We legalize it here, in our ground norm. That is the constitution of this country. It's been legalized. So that's why the president, of course, can say everything is fair in politics, because there's no, there's no button, it's a buttonless pit that we have as far as integrity is concerned, that nobody cares about it because the constitution says you can even commit murder and then you are okay to go.
And like
and
I was telling you earlier, just a few minutes ago, the FCD minister, feeding on from that, said was also, taking on the bishops, saying they were wrong to have come out to do this. Even the president's aides, Daniel Boala, one other one, in fact, threatening the cardinal that he must apologize, and that he broke presidential confidentiality. I don't know what that is. I've asked people who have worked in the presidency, they said there's no such thing. In any case, there was camera in the villa when that meeting was held.
Exactly.
NCA was there.
Yeah.
So what is the president? Speak to this.
No, what the president is trying to do is to scare, all the stakeholders in democracy from speaking out, because, like the Catholic bishops were right. They have the right to speak up. The unions, politicians, political parties and things like that should be able to speak when things are not going right, for the people. And then one would have thought that the president should have taken advantage of that meeting, to give them assurances that yes, things are going to be okay, and that we are aware. Although he says something in that line that yes, the reforms they have brought, they know is hard on the people, but they want people to be patient. Every government says be patient, but you accept such things when the person talking to you, really commands your confidence and trust. But the trust deficit in this government, is so huge that I don't know what the president will say to Nigerians, and then they would believe him, believe you me, because you look at the institutions themselves, they are so corrupt, to the extent that you have a whole agency of government that is was fake, and was operating, taking government money, and that is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm telling you, because there are many of them. For instance, have you asked yourself before that these budgets that these governments they make year in year out, who has ever sat any minister down? Tell us, how did you spend the money? The last year budget, how did you spend it? Give us account of what you spent before we give you another one. So even the existing ministries that you said and were put together, that you can say they have some official, recognition, and according to the constitution, they were put there. There are also conduit pipes that are used to siphon, people's money. That's what is happening. That's why end of the year in most ministries, whatever is left is shared. That's what they do. So it is just this one that has come out, and then maybe something went wrong somewhere, I don't know. That's why you are hearing about it. But take even the normal ministries, who audits their budget. How? Do they have anything that you can tell Nigerians that, this Minister of Education, Minister of this, Minister of this is what we gave them, this is what they spent, and this is the balance, and what have you. Where has it? I don't know where to go to find out.
Office of Auditor General should do that. And then there's a lady in the.
Did they publish anything for Nigerians to see?
I can't remember.
They don't. It's among themselves. The money.
The budget office. Just besides us here. because you would expect that. If you come this year to do your budget in the budget preparation, they would ask you, okay, last year you did this, there's a gap, but you probably see some of those things repeated again.
Yes. And the National Assembly, why I'm saying it's all a scam, is that they are also, together in it. You don't hear anything that, maybe you hear one, maybe somebody says something, and after a while, it just dies down like that. You have forgotten of some of these House of Representatives, and then senators who spoke against, out on, the allowances they are getting and the way they are handling the budgets and how much is, and what happened to them? Some of them get sanctioned for telling Nigerians the truth.
Sir, the president has repeated the choice of VP Shettima as his running mate. What's your view on the Muslim ticket?
Yeah, I've said one thing before. I don't know why I should keep repeating it. That you see, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and the president has done one thing, and what he did is to ensure that he reduced the political space to only Bola Ahmed Tinubu space. So he can even take somebody from another country if he likes to be the VP. He knows that he's going to win because he has managed to reduce everything to whatever he wants to do. That's what happens. That's what goes. So it's Muslim tickets. I don't know. No, it has no effect on the Muslims. Because what is the role of vice president in terms of the substance? I'm talking about decisions. On how deliverables are given to people in government. Government is about impacting, isn't it, on people? So how much can a vice president impact, even on himself? Don't talk of others, and then talk about the faith that he practices or something that will benefit something. Nothing. It means nothing in the actual sense of it. What happens is that this president you have today is as good as a dictator, And he did it intentionally. That's why the National Assembly, he appointed all the principal officers. He handpicked them. This is what I want. This is the one that should be the Senate President. This one should be the Speaker. This one should be Deputy. This one should be this and that. He handpicked them. So he runs the National Assembly. Wow. He runs the judiciary. Wow. He runs the executive. So now he runs INEC. That's why he has to defend INEC, because they are working for him. They are his employees. He employed them. He gets wherever he wants to be the chairman of INEC or the REC in other places. If he doesn't want you, you go. So why shouldn't he defend INEC like he did in his in interaction with the Catholic bishops? And then the police, the same thing. So he has managed to corner everything and to ensure that nothing works, under this democracy to the benefit of the people. It's only to the benefit of Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Let's talk about your party now. Who is your presidential candidate?
Ambassador Aliyu.
Okay. And he has a running mate?
Yes, he has.
What are their chances of winning in 2027? What clear pathways do they have?
Well, the clear pathway they have is the shrinked space that is available. I don't know whether there's any space available. I've been trying to see what space is available to the opposition in this country. To really make it. Where is that space? It's not in terms of the laws. The laws are not made in favor of the, or in fair. They are not fair to the opposition. The laws we have governing the process, and these are constitutional. It's a constitutional democracy, so it's governed by laws, isn't it? But these laws are not meant to favor or even to be fair to the opposition party. Another thing is resources. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has unhindered access to our resources before, during, after the elections. The central bank is opened if he wants. Is it dollars you want, or pound sterling, or naira, or which one do you want, Mr. President? They'll bring it to him, and they'll share it to whoever they want to share it to, and the police will assist them in sharing. That's what we have seen. In the past, So, which opposition party has the kind of resources that the president has? None. Okay. If I had to worsen the situation, he now made sure that out of 36 governors that you have, almost 32 or how many, are all for him, and even the ones that are not for him, they are just not, but deep and under, they are for him. So it's a total. That's why when you ask what are the chances of an opposition party in this Bola Ahmed Tinubu democracy. I'm trying to find the space. Because, you see, you have to be able to protect and ensure that vote counts. But votes under this system will not count. And they made sure it won't count, because that's why when they were doing the amendment to the Electoral Act, they smuggled in, the issue of when there is no power or something like that.
When you guys were insisting on electronic transmission of
Transmission
results and
as
collation,
yes,
they said no, there must be room for manual.
When power fails,
exactly.
and the power will fail in any case. So the issue is that and then they say the chain is as strong as the weakest point in it, isn't it? So that weakest point is for a purpose. They put it there. So even if you win, who is going to declare you the winner? Who? Bola Ahmed Tinubu's employees? In INEC, or which ones? Or do you have another INEC somewhere?
Okay, so if you are saying this, then why should anybody bother about the next election? You just allow the president to continue. Don't you think?
No. We should bother. We should bother about next elections, because it's about the people.
Because
I'm saying this.
I want you to take this together, sir.
Yes,
and then you continue with your thoughts. Are you going into an alliance? Because there's a group called G100 now. They're talking about, again, they're going back to the Badon Summit, that all the opposition candidates should come together, bury their egos, and rally around one person. Like Dr. Akim Baba told me here, that each in the party going against Tinubu is almost impossible. But that if you all come together, at least you have a fair or a slim chance. Are you going into an alliance?
But are they there? Are they there on the... I've told you from the beginning that all of them, most of them, I can't say all of them, except Atiku, and I can tell you, is out for a serious engagement.
Are you serious, sir?
I'm very serious about it.
That only Atiku you can vouch for?
Yes.
Is serious?
Yes.
As an opposition against Tinubu?
Yes.
Serious, sir?
The rest are pretenders.
Seriously, sir?
They are not contenders.
Including Showore, Adebayo Adewole, Peter Obi, especially the obedient movement, sir.
I asked you a question from the beginning. I said, why did they leave ADC if there will be about the G100? Summit. Why didn't they stay in one place in the first instance? If G100 is a reality, when you have a political platform where you can come out as one, you destroy it yourself. And now you want to deceive Nigerians that, no, we are thinking about G100. Which G100? They're all pretenders. They're not contenders. The only contender I can see today is Atiku Abubakar.
Really, sir? Wow.
Look at it yourself, sir.
Wow.
Look at it yourself.
This is serious, Alhaji. This is really serious.
No. But, okay, think about it yourself. Tell me. These people you mentioned...
because Alhaji Atiku Abubakar remained in ADC. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
Not only because he remained in ADC, he comes out with his resources. Not so much noise making, to ensure that he gets this power. But the rest are pretenders. If they're not pretending, they will remain in one camp. They don't have to be looking for each other now that, okay, let's come back. Who is fooling who, for God's sake?
Wow, this is serious, Alhaji. This is really serious. As we wind down, sir, as we go towards the 2027, there are a lot of very scary prospects, permutations. People are saying this next election may actually be the last opportunity for Nigeria to remain one country going forward and all of those. What's maybe 2 or 3 issues that you think poses a great threat, not just to democracy, but even to the survival of the country? Dangerous scenario.
Nigeria has seen worse cases, worse time than this, and we survived it. A lot of water has passed under the bridge. We'll overcome this one. We'll overcome all these shenanigans, all these which are anti-democratic. Democracy, you can't kill it. You can only probably suppress it for a while. But it will come out. And Nigeria is, you try to destroy Nigeria, you destroy yourself. You destroy yourself.
Wow.
Wow. So I have a very strong belief that after, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, there will be a reawakening, and a new Nigeria will emerge, that definitely will serve the purpose of democracy, which is delivering for the people of the country, not putting them under this Herculean, condition of suffering, lack of employment opportunities. Some people cannot feed, people are being killed like chickens, insecurity is worsening, and all you do is just go on this public relations, campaign and things like that, that we're attacking, we're doing this about insecurity, and we're not seeing it, taking effect by reducing the number of people being kidnapped. As we speak today, people are being kidnapped, Villages are being overrun. People killed, burned, houses burned, people burned alive, in this country. So this cannot continue. It can't. And it's not going to end. Nigeria will not end, though, let me tell you. Anybody telling you all these things that Tinubu is doing, believe you me, just a flash.
Never mind that people are saying he may even he may elongate himself in power. You don't see that happening.
He will elongate himself in, what do you call that place? In Bodilon, yes. But not in the villa.
Are you serious?
And he knows it himself now.
Okay, let me ask
He knows it himself, because why do I say so? Let him tell us one person who has succeeded. From Gawan to today, who has succeeded.
IBB did not succeed.
Obasanjo did not succeed. So is it him that will come? How is it going to succeed?
Jagaban?
Bodilon now, Jagaban. Jagaban 80 years. Yes, you can do Jagaban.
Wow.
But not after 80 years.
Wow.
The same system he's using now will be the one that will turn against him. The same system, everything that he's doing, that is, we put money here, that is the same system that will turn against him.
Okay, as we final question, sir. You said you only believe Atiku is the only opposition candidate, serious opposition. You said so now.
It is true.
What is your advice to other, you call them pretenders?
Pretenders,
what would
exactly.
you tell them to do to rally Atiku so that we can save this country?
They cannot even rally around Atiku.
Oh, wow.
They can't.
Wow. What pathway do you see for Atiku?
Is to go home, because democracy is like, that's why when you say we shouldn't give up.
So Atiku should forge ahead.
Yes, but I mean, Tinubu is doing his own. God is doing his own.
God is doing his own.
Yes. God has a purpose for this country. And it's not Bola Ahmed Tinubu's purpose, no. We didn't start, we're not going to end with Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We'll go beyond him.
Wow.
Definitely.
I like your very strong optimism, your very strong sense of optimism.
Was he there before? Was he there before? 1 minute before he became the president, did he believe he was going to be the president of this country? When they were doing that campaigns, the primaries, a day before that primary, did he think he will ever become the president of this country? Buhari and what have you, they wanted something else, but could they do it? They didn't have power, you mean? That's what I'm saying. All these things are just things that will pass with the time,
Nice place to anchor. I like it. I've really had fun. I've really had great fun with this conversation. I like it. I've had great fun with this conversation.
Thank you.
We should do this, as we wind towards. We should do maybe a few more times as we go towards the next.
No
one.
problem.
Definitely. Nice to have you, Alaji.
If you invite me, I'll come.
Definitely. Nice to have you, sir.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you. Thank you, Wale.
Thank you.